All right, let's resume. So started doing mushrooms. Mushrooms are not something that, at least where I am in the world, are easily obtainable all the time. There was a point at which it was easier for me to get acid. Does not do the same thing as far as depression symptoms go. I feel like it does have kind of a halo effect after you have a trip that for a few days you do still feel kind of nice. Not to the extent of psilocybin by any stretch. I don't know what the hell um, the clinical fucking, anything on LSD and any kind of like whatever. But excuse me. I'm, while I was processing my divorce, I tripped a lot. And so I had a lot of like dancing while having conversations with the earth and the universe, like, woo. Um, and during one of these moments, it dawned on me that my physical appearance didn't match who I thought I was. And I'm like, oh, well, testosterone, right? Like, if you do, even if you like microdose testosterone, it'll change your fat balance. It'll make you look different. You won't look quite so Coke bottle, Marilyn Monroe fucking body, you know. Not that I was way flabbier, but like that, like very obvious. Like when I was pregnant from the back, you could not tell because I was not a particularly small person. I was always pretty curvy, but I was curvy with like a very severe hourglass. So when I was pregnant, it pulled everything to the front and made that hourglass even deeper because like everything got pulled forward. Um, and so from the back, like I just looked like a curvy lady, and then I turn to the side and you'd be like, "There's a whole fucking human in there. What the fuck is that?" Um, and so that very like severe feminine shape was not what was working for me, and so I made the appointment to go to Planned Parenthood. And I did research before that. I wasn't just like, let me go hormones, yay, like um, and I started on testosterone, and it was like, holy shit, my brain works. Like all of the like, it didn't get rid of my depression and like that shit, but like all of the like irrational, overly emotional, why am I overreacting to this thing that I know goddamn well is not this big of a deal, stopped. And it was literally like, oh my god, this was the missing piece. And that's when I knew that I was a man. Is when I realized that the testosterone made me feel like a person. I mean, I still, I'm not like, it wasn't like a miracle drug and I'm suddenly like normal and healed and whatever, but like, holy shit. When I first started, I was doing injections because everybody says that the injections are better for results and blah, blah, blah. But when you do injections, you're usually looking at weekly, if not more often, or less often, rather. And so by the end of that week, because I would have, high level on the day of the injection and then it would go down, I was a nightmare. My emotional fucking, like, I had no emotional regulation at all. Um, so I ended up switching to the topical gel so that I could have a dose every single day. My mood is so much better. It's so much easier for me to like regulate. Like, just to be clear, like this does not solve all of my problems. I still have all of the other fucking existing issues that I had, but even those are easier to manage because this extra level of emotionality that I had, like, I would cry at anything, any emotion at all that was above like a normal average. Like if I was slightly happier than normal, slightly sadder, slightly more anxious, like I cannot tell you the amount of times that I would sit in an office crying with some fucking part, like, oh my god, like it just It was nuts. It was uncontrollable, and it's because that's not how my brain is not designed to have that much estrogen, and when it does, it doesn't know what to do, and I just cry about it. Like that's just um yeah. I'm just thankful that I live in a time that I had the resources to get the correct hormones and figure that out. And I understand that testosterone makes everyone feel more confident. That's not what this is. I was always fucking confident. Like, that's not. This literally is just me being able to regulate better because I was completely unregulated. And, like, it's not a situation where women are just like that. Like, I met women. I've known women. Some of them cry more than your average dude would. I mean, definitely, like people who start testosterone when they have the like I can't cry feature. I don't have that. I can still cry if I need to cry. Like I'm still capable of crying. It's not like I took this drug to turn off the crying. It really just stopped me from crying about everything. Because I still like if it's something particularly emotional, if I'm like I recently, and I mean within the past few weeks, have like really like come back to a point of accepting that if I cry, it's okay. Um, I had years of just emotional fucking oh my god, why is this happening to me bullshit. Um, the I hate talking about my divorce like this because, in retrospect, we're all better off with my not being married to that woman. Um, I say that woman, that sounds so harsh. That's not, I don't mean it like that. She's fine. She's just not fine for me to be married to. Uh, but, like, that, oh my God. I don't know, man. I'm just, from the divorce to the shit that happened with my kids that we will. And then losing my brother, like, it's been rough, dude. I'm still not over my brother. I don't know that I ever will be. Like, that is seriously the worst fucking shit that has ever fucking happened to me. I would bet you that that shit has hit me harder than it hit his parents. Probably harder than his kids because they had a backup dad chilling. Like, it sounds so fucking awful. Ian liked Steve a lot. Their stepdad, who at this point, it's been long enough, I'm pretty sure is their legal dad, because their mom got the death certificate as soon as she possibly could, and I'm sure it was so her husband could adopt the kids. And that's fine. It is what it is. Like, I don't. I wish that I could see them, but I was not close to her at all. Quite frankly, the way that she talked to my brother really just put a real bad taste in my mouth. I There were times that I was in the house, but I was out of her line of vision, but still in earshot. So she did not realize that the conversation she was having with him was overheard. And the way that she talked to him when people were around versus the way she talked to him when people were not around was completely different. When it was just the two of them, she was very nice, she was very cordial, she was very polite. When anyone was in earshot, as far as she knew, she was a complete and total fucking cunt. End. She talked to him like a fucking child, and I told him, and I will stand by this, he's the one that got away, and she doesn't want people to know that. And so she can be nice and respectful and sweet and flirty and hee when it was just the two of them. But if anyone else was around, that would give away the game. And she didn't want to fuck up the relationship that she had by letting anyone else know and then possibly letting her husband know that her baby daddy was the one that she always wanted to be with. He just couldn't get his shit together. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to was she, although also, and first, not that that makes a whole lot of difference, was an addict, did, you know, similar fucking shit to what he was doing. Fentanyl wasn't a thing at the time, so it wasn't that specifically. And she got her shit together first. And he wasn't able to as concretely. And, it's not like I would expect her to stay with him in that situation, but the intentionally being a piece of shit to him for fucking image sake, not, it really didn't help anybody, bro. It really didn't. She said some really horrible things, and I think that this is exactly what she wanted. I think she wanted him dead so she could be done with it. I think she saw that this was a possibility, and she was like, I can't prove it. It's not criminal. Like, there's nothing that she, like, writing shitty things in a Father's Day card, that's not, but, like, she put daddy in quotes on his fucking Father's Day card in June. He died in July. You fucking tell me. You fucking tell me. It was a year after she moved halfway, more than halfway, across the fucking country with the kids. So the only reason that he had to stay alive was so fucking far away that they had ready-made extra daddy ready to go, and she puts daddy in fucking quotes on the Father's Day card and makes no attempt to have the kids call him on Father's Day. I'm sorry, when you're co-parenting, that's your job, is to make sure the kids do shit like Father's Day, Mother's Day, birthdays, etc. Like, if you have the kids on a holiday, like, they're children. It's not their responsibility to remember that shit. It's not like... And I really don't think that she was like, hey, do you want to call Dad? And they were like, no. I just don't. Like, there was never a time that any of them ever, like, they'd be annoyed if he wanted them to, like, brush their teeth or some shit at a time. But, like, those kids never seemed unhappy with him. There were times that they were unhappy with the circumstances because, like, there wasn't a lot of room or there were, but, like, it was never Ian that was the problem. Not for the kids, anyway. He was definitely the problem for lots of other people in lots of other situations, but not for the kids. So, I realized that my brain worked better on testosterone. I know I digress like crazy, and then I'll get back to it. It'll happen. Um, yeah, and so I just kept doing the thing, and at this point, I think it was like 2021 when I actually started the tea, so it's been like 3 years, maybe 4. Was it 20? No, it had to have been 2020, right? Yeah, no, it's damn near 4 years. There was a time, probably 9 months or so, that I like was not on it correctly, and like, or I had issues with prescriptions and appointments and shit because my fucking mental health went to hell in a handbasket. So, like, I probably could be further along in my development than I am now. I have, like, you cannot see the amount of facial hair that I have with the, like, 4 I need to trim them chin hairs that I have going on here. Um, I don't know that I'm going to grow, like, a beard because, like, my own fucking father basically only had hair, like, here and maybe a little here, like the least hairy, like, Euromut ever. Primarily Italian. Fucking, my dad looked like Eddie Guerrero when I was growing up, the professional wrestler, like the Mexican dude with a mullet. My dad is the most Mexican looking Italian dude you have ever seen in your life. I mean, just legitimately, like, if you line that dude up with a bunch of Mexican dudes and then you line him up with a bunch of Italian dudes, he's gonna look more like the Mexican dudes. I don't know what combination of, like, Italian and English and German or whatever the fuck he's got going on that resulted in Mexican, but Legit, the man, he had the mullet and everything. Like my growing up, like, which is fun because by the time I like stopped talking to my dad, I was actually really into professional wrestling. Oh my God! Speaking of Eddie Guerrero, I feel really bad. I saw him live at one point in Pittsburgh, and at that point in his career, he was playing the heel. You know, he had ups and downs, whatever. Um, when he was in like outside of the arena, like getting into a car, people were like throwing snowballs at him. It's like, bro, like he's not the character. Can you just leave this poor fucking dude alone? Like, I'm sure he's all bruised up and battered and shit from all this. But you know, one of many wrestlers that didn't make it. Oh God, Chris Benoit. Jesus, go. If you don't know the story of Chris Benoit, go find it. It's oh my God. CTE is real, kids. Um, we shouldn't have football. We should probably shouldn't have wrestling either. Like we shouldn't have sports where people slam their heads so hard that their squishy little fatty brains smash up against the bony inside of their skull. It's not a good plan. It's not something you want. Your brains are real squish, your skull is real hard. I don't know why there isn't some sort of like evolutionary, like, I guess we didn't expect to be going that fast. I don't fucking know. Um, so after I came out and I started taking tea, and then my voice started to drop, I was still working at this point, and I was working on the phones, and I had to relearn how to speak, and I had to relearn how to do customer servicey type phone calls because previously I would start from my normal tone of voice and go up an octave into like some Disney princess bullshit in order to be customer servicey soothing. It got to a point that that was not something that I could comfortably do. Actually, for a while, I couldn't at all. When my voice was dropping, I lost my middle range for a minute. There was a while that my high range was falsetto, like it wasn't like my actual like high range. Um, so I had to like relearn, and instead of going up an octave, I had to go down an octave and become yoga instructor. You know, thank you for calling. May I have your name? You know that kind of a shit. Um, and getting called sir on the phones was really affirming, and you know. And I told the story about my brother recognizing me for who I was, and then I after it took me about 9 months after separating from the ex-wife before I started to like venture out into the dating world. I did a little bit of Facebook dating, which was I met someone that I liked. We were friends for a while. We banged a couple times. She was great, but like she dropped off the face of the fucking planet. I don't know. It's Facebook dating. I didn't bother to get her phone number, so it's my fucking bad. Uh, like if I ran into her again, I'd be friends with her. She was lovely, um, but it is what it is. And then I found Grinder, and quite frankly, as far as dating apps go, Grinder was the only place that I felt even marginally safe because my being a trans dude wasn't out of place. I did occasionally get a "ooh, you're gross" message from some fucking boomer ass Gen X fucking gay dude. And it's like, you could just move on. Shit, you could block my profile. Why the fuck you gotta be an asshole about it? I didn't message you. I didn't, like, show you a dick pic, and you're like, ew. Like, that was also the thing. Anytime, like, I would immediately offer a dick pic because I did not want to be a surprise. The last thing I wanted was to meet someone and have them think they were getting a cis dude and then get me and then murder me about it. Like, men are crazy. I am one. Fucking crazy. And most of them are a lot bigger and stronger than I am. So, um, but no, I had some experiences that sucked, but I had some like really super amazing, affirming experiences with, you know, dudes who like were super into the whole situation, very affirming of who I was, and like, you know, like I have a friend now that I made that like had dated a bunch of trans dudes, and we're just like, he's the sort of dude who's much like myself that when for him he is in a poly relationship, so he just generally bangs his friends. For me, when I'm single, I bang my friends. There have been times that I've been in poly relationships. In fact, when I first got together with my current partner, we started poly, and then I was the one who's like, "Can we please be monogamous? Because I don't want to bang anybody but you. Please, please, please." He was fine with this. He wasn't banging anyone else anyway. But when we first got together, I remember one day I was driving home from his place, and the aforementioned friend called and was like, "Hey, are you busy?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm driving back from this dude's house. Like, if you wanna, but I'm kind of filled with somebody else's cum. Like, if that's cool with you." And he was like, "That sounds amazing." And so, oh, Jesus. It's just so silly. Because, like, in retrospect, I'm like, no, it's fine. You can have it. Because, like, if I had the same conversation, like if I had left my partner's place and my friend calls me and he's like, "Hey, do you wanna?" I'd just be like, "Yeah, sure, we can hang out." Like, sorry, I'm just. I'm a serial monogamer at heart. I can be poly when I am the side piece, basically. Like if I'm not like seriously invested in people, I can bang a bunch of people. I can bang my friends. I can whatever. But as soon as I'm emotionally attached to you, like for real, no, please God, just can we just do this? Like I want to be the evolved poly dude, and I tried, and like, oh God, that was the nail in the coffin with the ex-wife, really. Um, because I'm the one who started it as well. Because I was like, I want to bang other people, and then as soon I was like, oh my God, I can't handle this. Because like I could sister wife style, I could bang a bunch of other people, but not my partner, and like that just seems unfair. Like at this point, I don't want to. That's a could, not a like I. Because honestly, man, like oh God, I dream about him. I jerk off about him, like all of all. It's kind of ridiculous. But I don't know, man. This is ridiculous. I don't know that any of this is even entertaining. I've rambled for a long ass time, and I don't know that I've gotten my point across about how I figured out who the hell I was. I think so. Moral of the story, I didn't know I was a dude. I buried the shit real deep. I was always weirdly uh, not feminine in the ways that one would expect. I always liked dudes, and I think the liking of dudes confused me a lot. Because, like, you wouldn't expect dude to like dudes. And I literally, like, during my grinder days, I reconnected with someone who I'd known previously. And he literally was like, well, if you're just going to sleep with dudes, like, then what's the point? Why not just be a regular girl? And I'm like, I'm not like a dude because I want to sleep with women. Like I'm a dude because I'm a dude. Like they're gay dudes. Like that's like like you're missing. You were on Grinder, right? Like like what about this are you not understanding, friend? I don't know. I'm just really glad I figured my shit out, and I hope that other people figure their shit out. And I really genuinely hope that anybody that thinks that I am like not valid or delusional or will never be who I want to be or never be happy or whatever would, I don't know, choke on a bone and fucking die about it. Fuck you. I don't care. You're a piece of shit. You're mean. You have negative thoughts for people that aren't fucking bothering you and don't give a shit about you. So fuck off. If you would like to let me peacefully live and do what I want to do, then, you know, uh, jobless, I guess. Sorry. That is a personal joke that is a callback to like a decade ago with my ex sister in law. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend any Rastafarians if I did. Um, but legitimately, like, if you want to let me live and you want to live and we can have different beliefs or different lifestyles or different whatever, cool, man. I love learning about people who are different than me. I don't need you to believe what I believe. I just need you to shut the fuck up about it. Um, if you don't have like some actual evidence, like something that isn't the Bible, I don't want to hear it. You know, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'm not saying I can never be wrong, but you know, if you're gonna argue with me, like if you don't have something to back up your argument, shut the fuck up. I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it. As the cool kids used to say back in, I don't know, 60s, 70s, 50s, fucking Stonewall. I don't fucking know. Been a lot of chants where they said that. Back in the day when I was in the Satanic Temple, when we would march in the pride parades, at my behest, my particular chapter, we would chant, "We're here. We're queer. Hail Satan." That's the kind of dork that I am. We're here. We're queer. Hail Satan. I love you. Be safe. Make good choices.